The Democratic People's Republic of Korea, also known as North Korea, is the most secret and secured country in the world. It's a one-party state run by the Kim family passed down through generations. With a population around 25 million, the government controls every move and everyone in the country. No outside contact, no free travel, and no freedom of press. That means anyone from the outside the country can't talk to a North Korean citizen without strict government permission, and vice versa. You can't just get up and go on a trip to North Korea. They take you on a tour run and designed by the government to show you the most advanced and new structures built in North Korea. The citizens of North Korea are only told the news that the government allows them to hear, and the government filters all their news. Just a brief overview of some of the rules and lifestyle gives you an idea of how isolated and secret the country is from the outside and inside world. The people in charge of creating and maintaining this government is the Kim family. Before they took charge, though, after World War II, the Koreans were split by the 38th peril, with U.S. taking South Korea and Soviet Union taking North Korea. Soviets put Kim Il-sung in power before and during the Korean War, allowing him to take complete power over his state. He believed in self-resilience, which is the fact that the country can run through its own citizens and leaders and doesn't need any foreign help. And that kind of brought all the secrets and isolated rules of foreigners and the citizens of its country. After his death in 1994, his son Kim Jong-il assumed power. His son implemented Song Chun-chai, putting the military as the economic and political force of the nation. Famine struck during his time as leader, resulting in many deaths from starvation and the economy to a staggering halt. North Korea's nuclear program was first introduced and altered around the 2000s by Jung. After his death in 2011, and the current supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, took over. Kim made a presence of power immediately by executing his own uncle, Chang Song-thaek, for military reasons. Kim has further tensions throughout the world with his increase in nuclear testing and strength. The military in North Korea protects and controls every part of the country. Troops are strategically placed along the border to make sure no one leaves or enters the country without permission. Visiting North Korea is an extremely dangerous and risky vacation. Taking pictures of buildings, people, or statues could result in imprisonment in a North Korean labor camp. Pictures of North Koreans that are malnutritioned, working, or wearing bad clothes are prohibited. Pictures of propaganda can only be taken if approved by the guide or the leader's full body is featured. Any military installation is banned as well. You take an illegal picture or break a rule, you'll find yourself spending an excessive amount of time in labor camp. The worst labor camps in the world, by the way. Here's a brief video of the labor camp and a survivor telling his experience. We'll just show a quick part of this.
I was born to a Chinese father and North Korean mother. But when I was 5, my father abandoned us and left to China and never returned. I lost my mother 6 years later from starvation. So I ended up living with my aunt until my father sent my stepbrother to take me to China. So I ended up in my father's place in China in 2008. Life in China was so much better. I was so happy because I was living my life in freedom. But the happiness that I felt in China was only temporary because Chinese government didn't recognize North Koreans as refugees and they deported back us to North Korea. The North Korean government wanted me to confess that I was trying to defect to South Korea. But the truth was, I went to China to find my father. I had no desire to defect and back them to understand. I didn't confess, and after beating me for weeks, they sent me to labor camp. I was only 15. In the labor camp, I was only allowed to eat 150 kernels of corn a day. One morning, we were marching in our roast on work site, and I saw a dry vomit on the road. I was so hungry that I got on my hands and knees and began picking the rice out of the vomited rice. I didn't stop eating the vomited rice until the beating from the guards were too unbearable. 8 months later, I was finally released because I couldn't even stand up or even lift my arm. After spending months trying to regain my strength, I needed to find a job. I began working in a coal mine where I was paid only in rice. Cave-ins were common, and I saw other boys lose their arms and legs as they're smashed into the rocks. And I watched my friend die when the coal cart fell off the track and crushed him. I worked in the mine about a year, and I realized it was my time to try to escape North Korea again. I knew how hard escaping North Korea would be without any money or food. And I knew that if I was caught, I'll be killed. But those risks overweighed working in the dark coal mine every day until it was my turn to lose a limb or die. One morning, instead of entering the mine, I walked up the path and began running. I spent the next 3 months hiding from the police and waiting for an opportunity to travel to the border town. On a humid day in August, I was lying down on a hillside. And in the distance, I saw a train come to stop, and I realized the train was going to the border town. And as the passengers boarded again, I joined the line. And the guard would ask for my papers and documents, and I lied that my mother had them and that she was already on the train. He nodded, and I headed straight for the train, asking to hide. I spent the next 2 days hiding from the police. I was almost to the border town when the hands of a guard grabbed the back of my neck and dragged me to a holding cell on the train. I thought about how terrible the labor camp had been. The long days of manual labor, sleepless night that I spent memorizing the rules, and the constant feelings of hunger. I refused to let that happen again. As the train began to slow down for the next stop, I saw a window was unlocked, so I pushed it open and squeezed out of the small openings. I jumped off the moving train and rolled into a ditch and began sprinting for some nearby trees. I ran for hours, illegally boarded a second train, and 2 days later I finally made it to the border town. I walked into the river that divides North Korea and China, and I hid on the tall grass for 8 hours waiting for the darkness. When I finally thought it was safe, I quietly waded into the water. In the middle of the river, I slipped on a rock and let out a scream. Immediately, a floodlight was on my back, and I heard a guard screaming at me. He said that he would shoot me if I didn't turn back. I knew that I was dead either way. Either he would shoot me, or I would obey and return to the shore, only to be shipped off to a labor camp. I decided not to turn back. Each step took me further away from North Korea and closer to my dream of freedom. And 5 minutes later, I was dripping wet, but finally back in China. I walked in China for 3 days until somebody found me collapsed in the middle of the road. I was hungry, and I was dehydrated, and I was exhausted. When the man that found me realized that I was from North Korea, he helped me to make a contact with the people who helped me to come to Southeast Asia, where I was processed to come to the United States. I remember looking out the window as the plane began to land in California. I've never dreamed of being on a plane or even coming to America. And as I stepped off the plane, I felt this strange feeling that I've never known before. Safety. I was finally safe, and I didn't need to hide anymore. And I came to America 5 years ago, and in that time, I have learned English, graduated from high school, worked as a sushi chef. My life in America has not been easy, but this is land of opportunity. And I know that if I work hard, I can achieve my dreams. And today, I stand here as the exception. For every story about a North Korean like mine, thousands of others end in tragedy. And sometimes I wonder why it was me. Why was I the one that survived in the labor camp when my cellmate starved to death? And why did the coal cart fell off the other side of the rails, crushing my friend instead of me? And why did I get a chance to jump off the train and those 2 other boys didn't? I struggled with these questions for a long time, and the small gift that I can give to those that are not here today is to share my story. Thank you.
It isn't anywhere near pretty or remain. The latest American release from North Korea was Otto Warmbier. Otto was sentenced to 15 years for stealing a propaganda poster from his hotel in 2016. The picture is Otto apparently stuffing a poster in his bag, but looks a little blurry and skeptical that it was even him. Shortly after, he went into a coma during his time in labor camp. North Korea didn't tell anyone or the U.S. until 2017, and he was brought home in critical physical condition. Consequently, despite intensive medical treatment right when he got home, he died 6 days after returning to the States in his coma. North Korea is overall a dysfunctional society and extremely dangerous. The fact that their country is brainwashed into thinking their leader is referred to as God and all he offers to his people is poverty and control. North Koreans don't know any outside news unless their government releases it. Their farming techniques are stuck in the 70s and still use animal power plows, yet their government tells them they live in the best country in the world and the Supreme Leader cares for them. With their nuclear testing increasing and threatening actual military powerhouses, I don't see how long it can truly last as an authoritarian communist regime without radical societal and economic changes. Thank you. That's North Korea. In a quick video.